The Eminence in Shadow, Episode 7, a fencing tournament of intrigue and bloodshed. So yeah, for a character who wants to be a mob character so badly, Cid's doing a very poor job at it, especially in this episode. But we'll get into that in a moment. So we start off with Sherry once again studying the chocolates that Cid has given her. And she has like a flashback to when her dad told her that it was a gift for you. It must be love at first sight. So she believes that Cid's in love with her. And we have this very sensual scene of Sherry eating the chocolate. Like it's super sexual, close-ups of her mouth that she like puts her finger in and licks her lips and stuff. And we do this, I think, twice now in this episode. So yeah. Then we cut to Cid, and he's looking at this pamphlet, and it's for a tournament that's going to be happening at the school soon. And he notices that Nu is standing behind him, and she's dressed in the uniform. She's not a student. She's just wearing this uniform so she can attract less attention as she goes to talk to Cid. And she's basically talking to him about the man that she apprehended the night before. You saw that in the previous episode. She interrogated him, and all that she really discovered was that he was brainwashed by it's a trait by the Cult of Diablos Vanguard. So they brainwash like children and stuff that they capture, and that's why they're just constantly repeating, "We are Shadow Garden." As she's explaining all this, Cid's not paying attention. Instead, he is having a flashback to when his friends showed him about the fighting tournament, and they entered him into it without his say-so, and he doesn't want to do it, and he actually tells them no. And as he's just so busy paying attention to this, Nu is explaining that, yeah, the Cult of Diablos goes around, they kidnap like the children of farmers and stuff like that. They brainwash them to turn them into the Children of Diablos. And she suspects that the Cult of Diablos is using the name Shadow Garden because they want to lure out Shadow Garden. So that's why they're going around attacking people and stuff under the name of Shadow Garden so that they can bring Shadow Garden out. And she has confirmed that there's a named character. His name is Rex, the Game Betrayal. And he is the only one who has been able to retain his self. Like he's the only one that has been unbrainwashed, but is still a member of the Children of Diablos. And he's going to be sent to the royal city. So news like, the fact that they're sending in this person into the royal city. So she's basically saying something big is going to be coming up soon. That's her theory. And Cid, of course, is like, considering the fundamental goal, I may not be the one who has set the stage, but there are ways for me to deal with this. And Nu believes that Cid is talking about the Children of Diablos, but Cid's actually talking about the tournament. He's talking about the fact that even though he didn't sign himself up, that there's still a way he can work with this. Yeah, as he's walking away thinking about what he's going to do with the tournament, Nu is like, oh, Shadow always has a plan for everything. He always knows exactly what to do. Every plan he's had has come true. This is the wisdom of Shadow. So she believes that he's like, once again, we just get the whole thing where everyone in Shadow Garden believes that Cid's like some great general coming up with all these awesome ideas, and he's just pulling things out of his ass. A lot of the times he's not even thinking about the Cold Diablos and stuff. He's just thinking about how he can portray himself more as a mob character. But yeah, we get the actual tournament. We see Cid's sister winning in a battle. We also see that behind the arena is this guy who has set up a booth, and he's like taking bets and trying to get a bunch of people to sign up. And that's when Cid has his match. He's fighting against Princess Rose. She's a student council president. She's a princess of Oriana Kingdom, and she's supposed to be like one of the best swords women in the academy. She is a textbook definition of a named character. And Cid's just like excited. He's like, finally, I get to use my mob fu. Like, this is an opponent of great skill. No one is cheering me on. Now's the time to reveal the 48 master techniques I've honed through my long and hard training. And basically the fight starts. The two rush at each other. Time freezes as they're swinging their sword. And Cid has basically like an opening. He can finish her off in one hit. But instead, as his sword comes closer, he stops his swing, reaches into his shirt, pulls out what looks like a red ball, throws it in his mouth, and bites down on it just as she hits him. And basically what it does is it causes a bunch of fake blood to shoot out of his mouth as he gets launched. And he's like, this is the perfect, this is a spilling drill fall bloody tornado. The perfect technique for a background character. An unsightly defeat in the first round. Like, I'm truly a bit character. And it would work if the match ended right there. But just as the referee's calling the match, Cid's like, not yet. Because he still has more techniques to show. So we just have like this montage of the princess constantly attacking and one-hitting Cid, and Cid throwing himself while gushing out a bunch of fake blood. And he wants to show all of his mob fu techniques. He has like 47 background character techniques to show off, and he wants to go through all of them. So we just have a montage of him constantly getting hit, constantly the referee is about to stop the match, and he says, not yet, not yet, not yet. Keeps getting hit, not yet, not yet. Keeps getting beaten, not yet, not yet. He wants to go through all his techniques. But eventually, we have the referee throws himself in front of Cid and stops the match. Because he's like, you can't go anymore, you're going to die. But as this whole thing is going on, like, he's winning the heart of the princess. Because the princess sees him as like never giving up. Despite the fact that he knows he's beaten and stuff, he keeps continuing to fight. And this like resonates with the princess. So Cid is unknowingly earning himself another waifu. But yeah, the funny thing is Cid, in his quest to show off all the mob techniques that he's learned, he's unknowingly showing off a main character technique. Because a main character is someone who is getting beaten in a fight and refuses to give up and keeps going despite the odds constantly being stacked against him, never giving up. A mob character would have just taken the one hit, been unsightly defeated, and then just walked away. But yeah, because Cid is so gung-ho about showing all his techniques, he comes across like a main character. The school has to basically drag him out of the arena, kicking and screaming. He earns this princess's respect. Meanwhile, we have Cid's friends who have lost all their money on just placing terrible bets. And yeah, so. But as they're like crying about losing all their money, we see Cid just like wrapped up in bandages. He's like, man, I wish one day I get to show off all the rest of my techniques. And that's when he's stopped by Sherry. And Sherry asks him if he's okay. And Cid's like, who are you again? Like, he has no idea who this woman is. And we cut to them having a meal together. And she mentions how she watches his fights. She doesn't usually watch the tournaments, but when she knew that Cid was going to be there, she watched his fight. And the fact that he never gave up, she was like, that was so brave of you. She hands him some cookies that she baked. And he's just like, okay, what's this for? She's like, as a thank you. And he's like, thank you for what? Oh, she's thanking me for showing off those sweet background character moves. And it's like, Cid already forgot that he gave her chocolates. But she's like, if it's all right with you, I like to start off as friends. And Cid's like, friends? Sure. I mean, I don't see a problem with that. And we have this adorable moment where Sherry's like so excited, and she immediately turns behind her, and through the diner window, she's like, Father, we're friends now. And it turns out that her dad's there. She brought her father as support so she can ask the guy she's crushing on to be friends. And that's when Cid realizes that her dad is the vice principal of the school. He's one of the lists of people that he shouldn't be in contact with if he wants to remain a background character. And since this girl called her father, that means that this is Sherry Barnett, a named character. Definitely someone I don't want to be involved with. And he's like, damn it, I was careless. So yeah, he's like, okay, I think I'm going to milk this fake injury that they think I have to stay inside and maybe put some distance between me and Sherry, and hopefully she'll forget about me. Because yeah, he doesn't want to be involved with any named characters, because that's not how you become a background character. So yeah, we have that. Once again, we cut to Sherry in her office, and she's examining the chocolates. And as she's about to eat it, she remembers that Cid was once involved with Princess Alexia. And so she goes to meet with the princess. So we see the princess, and she's talking about coffee and how the best way to drink coffee is black, no cream, no sugar. I highly disagree. I'm with Sherry on this. Basically, Sherry shows up. Alexia asks her if she wants some coffee. She says yes. And then Sherry immediately dumps 4 cubes of sugar into her coffee, as well as pouring like half a cup of cream. And it's like, yeah, that's definitely the way you drink coffee. I don't know. You guys can disagree with me, but I gotta drink my coffee sweet. Like, I love it with cream and sugar. But they have a conversation where Sherry basically says, I have a question for you. There's something important I need to talk to you about. And Alexia's like, okay, does it have to deal with the research that you're doing? No. Does it have to deal with some kind of like scheduling thing? No. All right, like, what exactly do you need to talk to me about? And Sherry asks her, are you romantically involved with anyone? And Alexia is kind of confused, like that's not something that she was expecting. And Sherry says, I know that you were involved with Cid. And that's when Alexia says, no, like me and Cid are not together. In fact, we were never really together. It was just a plan. We were faking it for reasons that I won't bore you with. And Sherry is like super excited. She's like, oh my God, like I'm so relieved. I just met Cid. We've recently become friends. I'm so glad that you guys aren't together anymore. So Alexia is getting the hint that Sherry is in love with Cid and wants to get romantically involved with him. And as Sherry's, talking about how excited she is, Alexia is trying to hold in her anger, and her like coffee cup is starting to break because she's squeezing it too hard. Because Alexia still has feelings for Cid. In fact, we have like a little adorable moment where we see that Alexia still has a picture of her hugging Cid, and Cid just kind of not okay with it. That she keeps hidden behind a bunch of other pictures because she doesn't want anyone to know, I guess. Sherry leaves excited. Alexia breaks down. Like, not breaks down, but Alexia, like, as soon as Sherry leaves, Alexia ends up shattering her coffee cup. And then we cut to the leader of the Children of Diablos for this specific arc. He's like a helmeted dude. You don't really see what he's doing, but we see him underground. He pulls out this jewel thing, and what it does is it releases it sets up a barrier around the academy. It zaps away all the magic inside. Cid's noticing it. He realizes no one else seems to notice this. The princess that he fought earlier, Princess Rose, shows up and is doing the speech about like the student council and stuff like that. And she notices Cid. And Cid realizes a barrier just went up. He tries to use his magic, and he realizes that it's not working. So he's like, all right, how come no one else is noticing this? And that's when some terrorists bust in, and they claim to be Shadow Garden, and they smash the students' weapons. Princess Rose stands up, tells them that they're stupid. Like, do you really think it's a smart idea to attack an academy filled with a bunch of students training in swordsmanship? And she goes to attack when she realizes her magic is gone. And the terrorists are like, yeah, you're not so tough without your magic, aren't you? He smashes her weapon. He goes to cut her down when Cid dramatically throws himself in front of the princess and takes what looks like a fatal slash across the chest. And he drops to the floor as the princess watches in horror, blood gushing out of his chest. And that's how the episode ends. But we all know Cid's not going to die. If anything, this is just him using more of his mob techniques, which just kind of, once again, my theory is that Cid threw himself in front of the princess, not to save her, but because he realized, holy cow, like, here's a terrorist group attacking this school. A mob character would be someone who gets killed immediately. Like, a background character would be someone who, like, one of the first victims of this terrorist group. So I'm going to become the first victim by throwing myself in front of their sword. I'm assuming that's what Cid's thinking. But instead, he ends up pulling a main character spot by sacrificing himself to save the princess. So once again, Cid trying to be a background character only ends up making himself more of a main character and makes himself just winning the hearts of more of these princesses and other named characters. So yeah, that's how it ends. Cid dying, but we all know that's not going to happen. This whole episode is pretty much Cid being so gun-ho about showing off his mob techniques, his mob fu, that he just ends up coming across like a main character. And it's just hilarious. So yeah, this is the beginning of the Shadow Garden takeover act. I don't remember what the name of the act is actually called. But yeah, the fake Shadow Garden tries to take over the school and stuff. And how Cid deals with it. I'm not going to spoil anything else for any people who are just watching the anime. But it's a good arc. I like it. Love the episode. Cid just freaking hilarious. He's like one of my favorite characters. He's so naive about what's going on around him, and just the fact that everyone thinks he's like, the fact that Shadow Garden just believes he's like this great dude who like knows everything that's going on around him. It's like, no, it's the actual opposite. The fact that he's so gun-ho to like, he's so strong, but he could one-shot everybody if he wanted to, but instead he wants to show off his mob fu, so he gets humiliated in a tournament. But because he's so gun-ho to show off all his mob fu, he ends up winning the hearts of people and becoming more of a main character. So his like idiocy just ends up backfiring on him. It's hilarious. But yeah, I loved it. Anyways, there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later.